Good Monday morning. It is the morning break. I'm Rob Patz. Hope you had a great weekend. Counting down to Thanksgiving now. If you're like my house, my wife, really went full Christmas mode this weekend. Besides that, hey, I want to shout out to the folks at Carpenter's House Church in Michigan. Had a great time yesterday in ministry there. If you're looking for a church in Ypsilanti, Michigan, you need to check them out. Fantastic church. You're going to be seeing stuff about them on the network and some really neat ministries that they're involved with throughout Detroit and things like that. So we're excited about that. Again, big shout out to them. Kristen and I up there yesterday sharing the word, and also Kristen led worship. It was like one of those really cool days. You have those like when God is like really doing something incredible. Yesterday was that day for us. We had a great time, and again, great church up there. Hey, how'd your football team do? How did it's the weekend. First, this week, very important for those of us, for me as a transplant here in Ohio, this is a big week. We get to play Michigan later this week. And it's kind of like, I don't even know, excuse me, I don't even know how to really kind of like put this in perspective. Being from Washington, and of course UW versus Washington State was always a big game, and at least I always thought it was a big game. It's not anything like this. Michigan, Ohio. In fact, yesterday I was very careful, and in fact we were very careful while we were in Ypsilanti not to say anything, because it's not that far from Ann Arbor. Not to say anything that would be offensive. I did not wear anything Ohio State related, not that I would church usually, although I'm sure if my wife got me a cool tie, Ohio State, I could have done that, but no. Anyway, big week for that. How did your football team do this past weekend? Seahawks did okay. Tennessee was tougher than I think they thought. It was not an easy win, and Cam Ward, which I've talked a lot about Cam Ward, we've talked about it here on the show. He's going to be legit. He looked great yesterday. Shedeur Sanders, first start for Cleveland. And an interesting note that I saw about this, Shedeur, first starting Cleveland Brown quarterback, first time, for their first game to win since 1993. Yikes. Had a guy yesterday ask me if I could pray for the Cleveland Browns, and I said, listen, I really don't think there was one Red Sea partying of the Red Sea experience. I don't think Cleveland gets the second. They are in tough shape. Going to be a long season for what's left of it, but some real tough decisions there. First coach out as far as in Vegas, as far as what I thought would be probably Pete Carroll's last game. No, Chip Kelly out as the OC in Vegas. The Raiders part ways with Chip Kelly, and in the significance here, and this I think kind of interesting, and I was texting with a friend just a little bit ago, is Chip Kelly. Wrap your mind around this. Chip Kelly was the highest paid assistant in the National Football League, and where does he go from here? I mean, he had his redemption story at Ohio State, but where does he go from here? Is coaching, like as a head coach, in his future after this? Things that, of course, I think about. Great coffee, by the way. It's the morning break. Got to thank the great folks at 7 Weeks Coffee. Now, here's the deal. When my wife went to order this coffee, she asked me, she said, she's not a coffee drinker. She goes, I know you like dark roast. Here's what I'm going to do, though. We were so impressed with 7 Weeks Coffee that she said, I'm going to order you a variety pack. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I want you to test it out. Now, if you've never had small batch roasted coffee, you're missing out. And I have to tell you, I've done it a few times, but now I'm hooked. 7 Weeks Coffee. Use the promo code ATV10 when you order. It's great coffee. Bottom line, you do the variety pack though first because everybody's different. Now I've kind of settled, and she knew this. I've kind of settled on my dark roast. I like the dark roast. I also get the whole bean. You can get it in the ground or in the K cup. Remember that 7weekscoffee.com. Use the promo code ATV10 for your order. We appreciate it so very much. National Sardines Day. Seriously? Who eats sardines? My dad did, but my mom made my dad eat them outside. You remember the cans and you rolled? Yeah, seriously. So National Sardines Day. I know there. See, now here's the thing. Being from Minnesota and being Scandinavian, herring is a part of that family. I actually kind of like herring. I'm not a huge herring fan. Like I'm not going to like, wrestle you to the ground for the last bottle, but I do kind of like herring once in a while. It brings back memories. But yes, Sardines Day. Do you eat sardines? Leave us a message on the app if you eat sardines. There's got to be people out there eating sardines because, well, they're still making them and still selling them, like huge amounts of sales, I guess, this year. Okay. Hey, listen, great news. Cost of Thanksgiving, which is this week, has gone down by 5%. According to 3 studies, the national cost for Thanksgiving is down about 5% overall. You're going to see the most discount in turkeys and some side dishes, though, continuing to be a little more expensive. I am super excited about my guest. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about business. I love that. And we're going to do that after this.
Behind every precious life, there was a choice. Behind every family moment, behind every special memory, there was a choice. A life of joy. A life that is beautifully and wonderfully made. At 7 Weeks Coffee, we are funding the pro-life movement, one cup at a time. Will you let your coffee serve a greater purpose?
Want to thank the great folks at 7 Weeks Coffee. Remember, 7weekscoffee.com. Use the promo code ATV10 to order. And I'm super excited. I was reading some of this guy's stuff. Elzie is here with us. Tell everybody a little bit about you first, and then and actually no, skip that. We're not going to do that way. No, I'm changing up. That's why it's live. I want to ask you right off the bat because you're like a kingdom leader. You're a business guy. What was that? Because there are probably some people out there watching this morning or on the replay. What was the pivotal moment in your life that led you to where you are as a kingdom entrepreneur?
So, Rob, that's a loaded question, but I'll try to give you a brief answer. So I've always been a kingdom entrepreneur. Okay. I'm doing air quotes for people who can't see me, but I haven't always been faith forward in my kingdom entrepreneurship. And around 3 years ago, God really began to impress upon me to be more faith forward. Now, not saying that if you're not faith forward, you're not being obedient. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying for me, God wanted me to be more faith forward. I'm a little bit slow, Rob. So it took me a little bit. So year 1, I was like, okay, I hear you, God. So I'll use words like purpose driven and all the things, right? It's kind of like when God told Moses to do the thing with the rock and he struck it instead of doing what he was supposed to do. It was sort of like that because it was like, okay, I hear you. I'll kind of be obedient, but not all the way. And so he's like, no, I want you to be faith forward and bold and courageous in your faith as an entrepreneur. And so year 2 comes by and I still didn't quite listen. I was more open, but not really all the way. And then finally he was like, no, this is what I want you to do. And so I shifted the brand of the podcast specifically because I felt that that was the best way to carry that banner. Now, naturally, I'm the founder of F3 Studios, and even though we have that faith as a part of what we do, Journey to Mastery, which is my podcast, that is the platform where we're kingdom entrepreneurs. We're all about mastering ourselves so that we can master our business, so that we can grow God's way. And it feels really good to finally be in alignment, and it feels amazing that God is patient and his grace renews every morning, because I needed a lot of that grace. But yeah, so the podcast is really the platform where we're talking about how God is calling us into alignment in the marketplace as kingdom entrepreneurs.
That's awesome. So tell everybody now that you've said that, now I want you to introduce yourself from now that people have that helicopter view of who you are now. How did you get here, and how did that journey begin, and give everybody kind of a background to who you are?
Yeah, so I'm a small town guy. I was born in Chicago. Mom and dad divorced when I was around 6 years old. Moved down to Southern Illinois. Now, if any of you watching or listening know anything about Illinois, you know that there's Chicago, and then there's the rest of Illinois. It's very different. And so it was, small town. Everybody knows everybody. No stoplights, one gas station, one grocery store, small. And so that was my childhood. I grew up and played outside all day, as opposed to in Chicago, couldn't really play outside. We didn't live in the best neighborhood. And so played sports growing up. It was me, my mom, and my three siblings. And really wasn't in church, but I would go to church because my girlfriend at the time, who's my wife now, lived in a small town across town. And the only way that I could visit her was if I were to go to my grandma's house. And one of the stipulations for my grandma was, if you spend the night here, you have to go to church in the morning. And so that's how I started to get exposed to church and the Gospels, because I was chasing my girlfriend. But it really did plant those seeds of faith and of Christianity in me, because eventually I came to my senses and I got serious about my faith at around 17, 18, and got married. I believe I was 20 at the time. Went to college, got a degree in electronics, spent several years doing that, started a family, was in electrical engineering. And then my latter part of my corporate career was in operations, until the Lord finally called me out of that to start my own thing, which is F3 Studios, was Podcast Town at the time. And we've been rocking and rolling ever since. And that's in a nutshell, that's my story. God was really, even in my youth, patient and guiding me to come back to him. So happy to report that God won, as he always does. And here we are.
That's awesome. You have a book called Flame Starter. Tell everybody about it. But here's the thing I want, and this was the part that I found really interesting. You said education, motivation, inspiration equal transformation. Explain that to people that may be watching for the first time and going, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. So I wrote the book out of really wanting to help other entrepreneurs operate in their calling without burning out, because I got to the point where I was working my day job. I was working my side gigs and all the things, a dad, singing on the worship team and doing ministry, like doing all the things. And my body physically shut down, and it was really scary. I went to the doctor because I was just feeling terrible. My hips are hurting and my energy is off. And it was just really bad, Rob. It was so bad. My doctor told me, she said, Elzie, I want you to go straight to the pharmacy and fill this prescription. I don't even want you to go home first. Go straight to the pharmacy and get because your numbers are that bad. And so I talk about, that in the book, but I wrote the book so that other entrepreneurs wouldn't suffer that same consequence. And I put together that transformation formula, which basically means your level of education on a thing, no matter what it is, whether it's a spiritual thing, a physical thing, whether it's emotional, your education is going to dictate your level of transformation. If you're not educated about a thing, you will not achieve transformation in that thing. But you also need to be motivated, because you could know a lot of about a thing, you can be motivated to do it, but if you don't have the motivation, you're not going to have transformation. And then inspiration. You could be educated and motivated, but not inspired, you're not going to have a level of transformation. So your education times your motivation times your inspiration is going to be equally equivalent to your level of transformation. And so part of the reason I put the formula together is because it helps me, the way my crazy brain works, understand, okay, you need all of these elements, right? And even if you don't have all of them at 100%, it gives me a metric to see, okay, well, I didn't really hit it here. Where was I missing? Was it the education? Was I not motivated enough, or was it inspiration? So it gives me a litmus test to kind of evaluate where I am in terms of getting to my goals and getting to my transformation.
So are you like a daily learner? That's the one thing I've become, is like, there in different fields, I take a part of every day as an entrepreneur and really like just try to hone a skill. It doesn't even have to be a skill that I need that moment, but is that kind of what you are? Are you like a daily learner?
Yeah. So here's the cheat code, Rob. I'm a podcaster. So I don't know if you're like this, but I listen to podcasts every day. And if you're listening to podcasts every day and you're not learning something every day, you're not listening to the right podcast.
Oh, yeah, no, exactly. No, you nailed it. There are some great podcasts out in right now in the space. And
yes.
And so, yeah. And obviously yours, I would put it in my, and how often do you drop your podcast?
So it's weekly right now. I'm not going to wood at the time of this conversation. It's weekly. I want to go to daily. So I want to do shorter, higher impact episodes, but Monday through Friday. So, but we'll see.
That's awesome. I mean, it is a fun place. I started this and I tell the story. So this isn't the first time. But this was something I resisted. I have a background in television and radio. My wife was like, you need to do this to do the morning break. And when I started, I only wanted to do once a week because I had so many other things going on. So I knew it was God wanting me to do it, and I resisted. So I sat over there going, no, God, I'll give you one day. We're up to 3. We're going to go to 4 at some point here in the next. It is interesting because you have, as an entrepreneur, and especially you'll probably relate to this, is you always have great excuses for not doing something.
Oh yeah.
Well,
sure.
I have these other things that I have to take care of today.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I think part of it for me, when you think about being a kingdom entrepreneur, is the more I can divorce myself from what I want to do and align myself with what God wants me to do, I find the better things tend to work out. You know, do I want to do a thing, or do I want God's will for me to be done? So that, and it's a tough thing. And I know, it's easy to say, well, yes, Lord, your will be done, but your body might not necessarily agree with it. And so it's about, aligning ourselves with what God wants. And if God says, Elzie, I want you to do this daily, then that's what I do. Now, is it that easy? No. But that's the goal, is to be in as much as possible in alignment with what he wants. And so
I love that, because that leads to my next question is, Elzie, how do you stay grounded? How do you stay grounded with all of the stuff you've got going on? How do you stay grounded? Because what you said earlier is so many people, and I'm sure the circles you travel in and are very similar to the ones that I do, where business people are like, I'm exhausted. I work 7 days a week. But how do you stay grounded? How do you keep a balance? You talked about family. How do you balance everything?
Balance is a dirty word for me. The way I like to think about it is harmony. I'm a singer-songwriter, and so every song has harmonies, depending on how fancy you want to get different parts, right? You got soprano, you got alto, and you got tenor, and then you got the lead singer. Harmony is when at certain parts of the song, you want to hear the lead singer. On certain other parts of the song, you want to hear the background, and the background, they should blend. So it's not balanced, but it's in harmony, and there's seasons and timing to it. So there's, again, some parts of your life. When I was 21 years old, I worked because I could stay up all night, and then I could go to the gym, play 7 games of basketball, come home, not be affected, and then do it all again the next day. I'm 43, Rob. That would kill me. Right. So it's about understanding seasons, time, and assignments. That is not my assignment at 43. I have 2 children, a grown adult child, and a wife, and all the stuff. And so that in this season, that wouldn't work for me. So I like to think about it as harmony and seasons and assignments, and not so much balance.
I love that. And so again, and we didn't share script ahead of time. So the next question, this is when God moves, LZ. I think this is it completely. So tell everybody, because and I'm a big person on this, and you might not be. So we'll see here after I ask the question. But I love to look 3 to 5 years down the road. I love that because that's how I plan. I plan 3 to 5 years. My wife jokingly says I have notebooks full of things that aren't going to happen for 3 to 5 years. Tell our viewers and our listeners, what's the plan for the next 3 to 5 years?
Okay. So I agree with you mostly, Rob, but I like to say I consider the past, I peek at the future, but I spend most of my time and attention in the moment. Of course, I'm looking at 3 years, 5 years, right? But I don't spend a ton of time there because things change so much. And even, next year, I'm a different man. I have a different assignment, different season. And so again, I'm peaking at 3 to 5 years. So it's like, overall, where do I want to be in 3 to 5 years? I want to be in alignment. I want to be even closer and more in alignment with where God has me. And where that is leveraging my gifts and talents to help kingdom entrepreneurs master themselves, their mindset, their mission, their message, and their method so that they can grow God's way. That is my assignment, right? So awesome. What that looks like will change, right? It will change, but that is my North Star. That is my assignment.
That is cool. Hey, give everybody your website.
It is F3, it's EF3studios.com, or they could go to my personal podcast website as elzieflenard.com.
Hey, listen, I appreciate it. But now the most important question of the day, because it is the week of Thanksgiving, what is the one food you are looking forward to on Thanksgiving to eat?
I hope this isn't a boring answer, but I really, 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 really enjoy a nice, well-cooked, juicy turkey.
See, number one answer. By the way, study, we've been doing this all month long on the show, but the number one, according to a study by Better Homes and Gardens, or one of the magazines, they're one of their imprint magazines, is that everybody looks forward to turkey. I'm a stuffing guy. I've got to be honest with you. I like my stuffing. It's the thing that I enjoy the most. I love turkey. It's good. But hey, give everybody the website one more time.
Yeah, so there's 2. So you could go to ef3studios.com if you want to see what we're doing in the production world. But if you want to go to the podcast and see what I got going on with the book and all the stuff, it's elzieflenard.com.
That's awesome. Hey, thanks, buddy, so much for being with us. Truly great to hang out with a kingdom entrepreneur. When we come back, my final thoughts for today's edition. Great event coming up next year, Orlando. It's going to be an amazing time. U.S. Christian Chamber of Commerce. We're going to be there. We hope that you come and hang out with us. And just a reminder, if you missed all or part of today's show live, you can always watch it on demand or tomorrow morning. It is on the network at 9 a.m. Eastern time. So we appreciate it. Of course, it's live on the network now. That's confusing. It's way more than I want to think about. I really just want to think about Thanksgiving. And hey, did you hear about this? And this is really cool. I don't know a lot. I haven't done a complete research on this, but Amazon, according to the research I did, Amazon has a meal hack and they're offering a $25 Thanksgiving bundle. They say for the $25, it's supposed to feed 5 people. I'm sorry, but I don't see that. It's probably kind of like those serving sizes you see on stuff. And it's like serving size of Oreos. Did you know the serving size of Oreos is 1? Who eats 1 Oreo? Anyway, that's one of the things I wanted to talk about Amazon. We talked about National Sardine Day. I should have asked Elzie about his love of sardines, or lack of, probably, like most of us normal people. Also, AAA sent out a thing, and this is the one thing I was going to talk about because it's kind of interesting. AAA releases every year. Of course, my background in radio and TV, we've always quoted AAA. AAA says this year, 81 million Americans will travel at least 50 miles over the Thanksgiving holiday, which I think is kind of cool. Depending on the year for me and for me, it would be more than 50 miles. This year is not that. This year it's going to be at our house. My wife and I are having Thanksgiving here. I'm excited about that. It should be a lot of fun. Always is. Have everybody come hang out here with us. And I don't know, over the next couple of days, we're going to talk more about Thanksgiving. What are you really thankful for? I mean, what is the one thing that you say, I'm so thankful God did this for me? And I've got a bunch of them. I'm going to give you one before we close today. I'm thankful for family. For many of you that know, last year, just a little over a year ago, I lost my mom. She passed away, and it was tough for me. You know what I've come to realize? I'm thankful for the family that I have. I'm thankful for the folks that stood with me. I'm thankful for people that may not be family by blood, but are definitely family. So that's my first thing. We're going to talk about it every day. I'm still trying to convince Kristen to put a camera in our kitchen for Wednesday for her to cook and do the show with me. If you know Kristen, and those of you that do are probably laughing, going, that's never going to happen. It probably won't. Hey, listen, I want to thank the great folks at Act Social also. And we didn't get to talk about them very much today. Act Social. Listen, if you feel lost in a world of social media and are looking for people that have the same views as you do and are kind of on that same page, like-minded, go to Act Social. It's actssocial.com. And when you get there, hey, follow me and also join the fastest growing group on Act Social. It is the Abundant Group. My wife and I believe so much in what Act Social is doing. We became a corporate sponsor and part of the team at Act Social. Sean is a great guy, and he and his wife, along with the team at Act Social, are doing fantastic things. That's actssocial.com. And when they ask you for a referral, you just put my name. That easy. We'll see y'all again tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this has been The Morning Break.